All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to DFS Army's pre-lock show, where you have four of the GOATs here to help you all answer your questions, talk through your concerns, and really just make sure we are good to go for week one of NFL DFS. Tattoo, I already see you with Burns' book. Talk to us a little bit about like what you do, what contests you play. What's your specialty here?
I'm a DraftKings exclusive relationship kind of guy. And I mainly play for NFL hundos, multipliers, 20 max, smaller contest.
Nice. All right. Burns, what about you? I know you literally have a book that you've written about this, but tell us about yourself.
For those of you that don't know me, I pretty much just researched the Millie Maker to make sure I know all the metrics of how to win large field GPPs. You can read in my bio basically on any article that I've written last year and prior. I have several top 10 finishes, including in 2019, 3 top 10 finishes in the Millie Maker. I have multiple live qualifier entries. I think it's upwards of like 9 now. So last year I have several NHL wins, as well as top 10 finishes in MMA, every other sport known to man that is on DraftKings portal. I am a heavy DraftKings player. I may go over to FanDuel every now and again, but probably not. I just like how DraftKings rolls. It's good.
Yeah. Too good is literally what I say when I talk about you, Burns. Just too good. Raz, what about you? I know you've also taken down a lot of contests. Tell us about where you specialize.
I'm mostly DraftKings as well, just because I hate FanDuel and their contests.
Okay.
I focus obviously football, but college basketball and baseball. You find me talking all day long in the MLB channel. I'm a pretty serious person, pretty straightforward, never joke around, nothing.
Always serious.
He's so boring.
Boring.
Pretty boring overall. I focus on large field stuff, MME.
All right.
A lot of sites. I'll have 600-700 lineups going. So.
Boom.
I forgot
for me. What are you saying, Tattoo? What are you trying to say?
Oh, I was saying when I was talking about myself, I forgot to talk about hockey and baseball.
But today we're focusing on football. And like you all are saying in the chat, it is good to be back. It is good to have you all back. But let's go ahead and get into the important things. When you all are asking questions, tell us the site, tell us the type of contest. Those things matter. There's also a lot more that goes into a simple question, but we'll dig into that. Trippy A said, is Yoshi still in play with Chase playing? This is a big question, Burns. I know we were talking about this a little bit before we kicked off. What are your thoughts? With Chase in, are you still interested in Yoshi?
To be quite honest with you, Chase is the man. If I'm stacking Burrow, I'm stacking him with Chase. To get that lower priced guy in your lineup, a guy that's starting to make a lot of sense for me is not that Yoshi dude, but it's actually Mike Gesicki at the tight end position. They're both at the same price tag, and I could actually see Gesicki having a better day than that Yoshi dude. So I get it. Yoshi's he's that new toy that everybody is apt to play, but don't forget about Mike Gesicki.
Yeah. No, good call. Tattoo, do you have any thoughts on this situation? How are you feeling about Yoshi today?
I'm fading him. I'm not playing him. I have 10%. So yeah. I'm not very confident in him at all.
Yep. JG, this is legitimately the same crew from last year. We've lost no one, thankfully. All right. So we will start off by just kind of talking through the quarterbacks that we like on this slate. Jay, you are helping us have this natural transition. I appreciate the good question here. We'll start with you, Burns. when it comes to that single entry quarterback that you're looking at on this slate, I feel like that's everyone's question, and it's hard to have like a favorite guy, at least for me personally. Who are you looking at for single entry?
For very low entrant contests, like think your hundos or whatever they're called, or like that $100 entry 55 and contest entrance or entrance amount. It's like $100 on DraftKings. I would go with A-Rich to this week because of the fact that he's like, he's going to be the highest owned quarterback on the slate. But for any single entry contests that are in excess of like 500-600 entrants, I'm going Josh Allen, and I'm pairing him with Dalton Kincaid, and I'm not having any bringbacks from the Arizona side. I'm just going to leave it like that and fill it in from there. I kind of like how it looks.
Okay. Yeah. And I think that's a very good way of thinking about it. You have your chalky small field, play Richardson play, not overthinking it. And then I do like Josh Allen a little bit going up against this really bad Cardinals defense. Looks like Raz might be doing something. So I'll go to you first, Tattoo. Like, who are you looking at for your single entry quarterback and then GPP plays?
Single entry, Richardson. But I do also love Allen. He's probably my favorite quarterback. Then I like CJ.
Yeah. For me on this slate, at least when it comes to GPP strategy, I like a lot of quarterbacks. It's week 1. There's going to be some surprises, and I want to have some exposure to that surprise stack. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but first, Raz, I'll go to you. I know some people might be like, who's Raz? I'm not going to say what your username is, but who are you looking at for single entry quarterback?
Well, you need to actually say the name because, it says it on the screen. But
see no evil, be no evil.
I think I'm with Burns and Josh Allen.
Unprofessional.
I'm heavy on Baker Mayfield, and I don't know why, but I think it's Josh Allen. Sorry, I had to run around. My internet dropped for a second. I was confused. But we're good now.
Bob left us.
Is Bob now?
Okay, yeah, I was gone there for a little bit. I have no idea what sarcastic comment you had in response to whatever it is I said. But were you able to share like what quarterbacks you like on this slate? That was the important part.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned single entry wise, it's Josh Allen, but I'm kind of heavy Baker Mayfield, which scares me a little bit. But yeah, I think the chalk should be Josh Allen, even though it's not.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield is someone that my guy B-Dubs, who's a coach at DFS Army, also was in a lot of support of. Also, speaking of DFS Army, if you are not a member, today is literally the last day to have 15% off your subscription, which is also one of the cheapest subscriptions in the DFS space. Click the link in the description, use code NFL15, get that 15% discount, see the cheat sheets, be able to use our optimizer. We have a lot of things making it very easy for you on this slate if you just look at the notes. But we're also here doing this show to try and provide support for those of you who are also members but haven't signed up yet for whatever reason. But yeah, I agree with you when it comes to Baker Mayfield. I think the matchup against Washington is really what makes him stand out. Other guys we didn't talk about at the quarterback position, CJ Stroud, I also love. Raz, I like the matchup against the Colts. That secondary has struggled before in the past. That front seven is good. I think CJ Stroud could crush this week. Do we have any news on Chase yet? Or not Chase, but Russell Wilson? That's what I'm thinking about.
He's out.
Ugh.
It's Fields.
Nothing?
It's Fields.
For sure?
Yeah. Fields is a starter.
Are y'all playing him?
Unfortunately.
How much is too much? Fields today.
1%.
Talk to Kevin.
I mean, I have 8% right now, so I'm going to say 8% is too much.
So, but I mean, 8% is around field weight, so I don't feel like that's that bad. For me, it's like if you start to go 20 plus, that's when you might be pushing it a little bit.
That's the stratosphere Geek's going to be in, right? 20 plus.
That's what he said.
He's locking him in.
Not. I mean, Justin Fields does consistently hit over 20 fantasy points. So it's not a bad play. It makes sense. Falcons secondary is better than people think. That's what concerns me. But as of right now, I have around 10% exposure to Justin Fields. Sam Darnold's one of those sneaky quarterbacks I like on this slate, especially pairing him with Justin Jefferson. And then Geno Smith, I think, is the only other guy we didn't touch on so far who I like a lot on this slate. Do y'all have any interest in Kyler? I feel like no one's talking about Kyler Murray.
I just added him to my pool at 8%. So, you know, I mean, that last spot was like Kyler or Sam Darnold or Geno or even Daniel Jones. And I just threw up in my mouth a little bit saying Daniel Jones. So,
well, we were saying that name a lot on Tournament Tactics, but not for positive reasons, at least for me. Zachary said, for cash and single entry on DK, which is the better pair? Kirk and Pitts or Nico Collins and Granson? Burns, I know you've been a Granson truther, at least on Friday you were. What are your thoughts here? Christian
Well,
Kirk.
it depends ultimately on the type of contest you're entering. Kirk and Pitts for a single entry contest that is kind of lower in number of entrants. And then I'd go Nico Collins and Granson in a higher number of entrant contests that is a single entry, because you want to capture ownership. You want to leverage it.
Neil, I know you're being sarcastic as hell, and I hate you. Just want you to know that. Phil said, when controlling your pool, do you guys change projections or exposure maxes? I forgot already. Raz, what's your strat? And then I'll go to Burns and you too, Tattoo.
Yeah, I'm pretty hands-on with my pool, and the DS carries over from baseball because I change everything when it comes to baseball. So, you know, I global max anywhere from 25 to 40%. It really depends on how I feel about the slate. And then I do adjust projections just so that I get guys to pop a little bit more. I prefer it to do it that way than to put a min percentage on them. But sometimes you just have to add both, to be honest.
Burns, what about you? Do you have like a quick strat here?
So the question, so really my exposure maxes are global. I set them per position. So 20% is quarterback, 30 is running back and wide receivers, and then 20% is tight ends and defenses. Do I change projections? I will do it on occasion where I know that a guy may be too far under where I need him to be to actually get him into lineups. So it's not something that I just say, oh, I'm going to change the guy's projection and change the guy's projection. You have to have kind of an understanding of why you want to change it. So if, for instance, like Justin Jefferson this week isn't getting into, say I have a threshold of 15% that I want him into my lineups, and he's not getting into that 15%, well, then I will boost him to actually get him there. So that's kind of how I roll with it.
Tattoo, I know you do a lot more 20 maxes, but like, what's your strategy here?
Yeah, I have a global max about 35%. And then as I run it, I will decrease people I don't like as much. And I do add likes, loves, adores to players if I can't get them to pop as much as I want.
Yeah,
and I make a player pool. I eliminate a lot of people.
Yeah, I'll say for me, I'm really bad here. I start from scratch and I work my way into seeing what I want the DS to give me. So I do end up having global maxes today. It's around 40%, a little bit higher than I usually go. But it really does vary for me slate per slate. I don't have like a straight, I do this every single time. I just go down the right path. That works for me. B-Dubs, let Trippy know. I think you answered him already though. Eric said, any news on Antonio Gibson building lineups for early slate? Have y'all looked into Antonio Gibson at all? He hasn't really been on my radar.
Yeah. I feel like at 1 o'clock this morning or something, I got an alert about him planning to play. That's the only thing I've heard.
Yeah. Okay. Are you concerned about Chase saying that he may be limited? Tattoo, what's your thoughts here? Any concern here?
No, not really. I mean, I think he'll be fine. I mean, he doesn't need to do or be out there, but so much, and he can blow it open in a few plays. So.
Appreciate y'all, B-Dubs and Tan Guy. Eric, Antonio Gibson is playing, so we're good to go there. And for me, y'all, if Chase, if he signed that contract, I would be playing Chase with full confidence. Him not getting that contract by today kind of lowered my excitement. But Burns, what's your thought process here?
I mean, I think he's full complement of plays today. I don't think he has any reason to not be in there and take on all the plays that he needs to take on. I mean, there is uncertainty. So, that's week 1. There's risk. So, not a lot of people could play him because of that. It might actually lower his ownership quite a bit. But actually, I find he's probably going to be about 10 to 15% owned today. So don't really see too much of an issue with him today. But, take your risk, and if you don't want to be risk adverse today, lower your ownership to him. Don't have him.
Yep. Yeah, David, I'm right there with you with Kyler today. I have some lineups with Harrison, but I know that the matchup's tough for him. McBride is really that safety net for Kyler. I have more stacks with Kyler and McBride than I do with really any other receivers. I have a little bit of Dortch as well, too. Love Kyler. B-Dubs likes Scary Terry McLaurin for his low-owned wideout for today. We'll get to that position here soon. Zoob said, Deontay Johnson seems very ignored for a dude who could replicate Thielen's hot start if Young is still a check-down god. I think Deontay Johnson's going to be used a little bit deeper than in checkdowns, but you might be onto something. For me, the matchup against the Saints is what concerns me the most with Johnson. But Raz, what are your thoughts here? Are you on Deontay Johnson at all?
I am not really on that game a whole lot, to be honest.
Understandable.
Obviously, Deontay, could potentially be up against Marshawn Lattimore a little bit more. I like Thielen. It's one guy I was right about early last year, but another year older on him, probably do see a slowdown. So I just, with Bryce Young, I think I need to see it now before I start believing that he's going to carry any wide receiver at this point.
Okay. We're about to start talking about wideouts, and there's one guy from that game who you are the whisperer for, Raz. And I liked him a little bit this week. And so I'm hoping you do
a lot this week.
That too. I saw one of your lines. I know you like them, but we'll get there. Bobby said standard flex percentages that we use. And what they mean is in the flex, what percentage are we putting in the domination station? Burns, I'll start with you. What percentages are you using for this week? And are these the same percentages you use for every week?
Yeah, so I'm using 30% for the running back position, 5% for tight end, and then filling it out with wide receivers. So I just leave it at 100.
Yep. What about you, Raz?
I am this week at 30% running back, 10% tight end, and then up to 70% wide receiver. I don't think you can force it to do the same thing every week because of the matchup changing and everything. There are some weeks where running back is just going to be more important than wide receivers. I don't think that's this week, but in general, you have to be willing to make some adjustments, probably, 10% one way or the other.
Yeah, I agree. Tattoo, do you do anything differently here?
This week, 20 running back, 10 tight end, then letting wide receiver fly and flex.
Are you looking at my freaking domination station? Look at this. I literally have those exact settings. That's wild. That is crazy. Yeah, I'm doing 20% running back, 10% tight end and 100% wide out too. So I'm right there with you.
So many good wide receivers.
Yeah, agreed. Queet said, is it necessary to have a run back in the Millie lineup? Burns, you wrote the book. What's your thought process here?
No, not necessarily. When you have run backs, it's more of a shootout type game where you think that the other team is going to keep up pace with the team that you have your quarterback from. So it tends to be more of a shootout type situation. I don't really see that as the Indianapolis game, even though the game total is 49. I see it more on the Jacksonville-Miami game. And then there's always those under the radar type games that could actually shoot out too. And, I think one that could have a potential, and I have a couple of lineups with Herbert in it, so I could see that as being a back and forth affair, but I don't know. That one's a little sketch, but I just have a couple in there because he's so low owned and nobody really knows what's going on with the Chargers. So I kind of like that uncertainty and capturing that in the Millie Maker. So,
yeah. Thomas Dye, what's up, man? Hope you're doing all right. He said thoughts on Stevenson today. And while we're talking about Stevenson, would love to get y'all's thoughts on just other running backs that are standing out for you. Just GPPs, tournaments, things of that sort. Raz, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on Stevenson? And then what other running backs do you like this week?
I'm definitely trying to get some Stevenson. I have boosted him a little bit. It's just tough to get a read with New England on the road. I don't really like it, but even with Gibson playing, he still could be limited or obviously re-injured or whatever. Stevenson, more snaps. I don't mind it at all. He's at a price point on DK that I kind of like, under 6K. I like to get a few of those guys into my pool a little heavier. I'm just big on Kenneth Walker, playing him probably as the highest owned running back in my pool. Nearly fading Elvin Kamara, which feels like that's the biggest decision this week. Like, he's got such a high projected ownership, but do we really want to rely on chalky Elvin Kamara is my question.
Fair. Tattoo, what about you?
No, we don't want to rely on chalky Kamara. I don't like him. What Stevenson, I do like him a little bit. Okay. He's in my player pool. I like Rashad White, Walker, Jerome Ford. I do really like Jerome Ford. I just watched Dallas get eat up by running backs last year, and I'm definitely gonna be over the 8% for him. A little Zach Moss, and not a whole lot past that. Robinson and A-Chain.
Yeah. Burns, what are any final thoughts on the running back position? Any strong stands you're taking here?
Yeah, I think if you don't have any Joe Mixon in your player pool, you better get him in there. He's a new shiny toy in that offense outside of Diggs. But to be quite honest with you, I think Mixon could actually be a benefit to this offense that they didn't have last year. Yeah, they had Singletary, but don't get me wrong, Singletary is just a guy, and he's now in my Giants offense, and he's still just a guy. We talked about it last year, like guys like Zach Moss. These guys are just guys, right? Yeah, they're going to pop off here once or twice a year, but when you want consistency, Joe Mixon has the experience in the NFL to pop off at any time, and we're getting him in the 6K range, which is perfect. So don't forget about Joe Mixon. If you don't have him in your player pool, boost him up. I'm seeing a lot of love on Chubby Hubbard. To be quite honest with you, I don't really see it. New Orleans is a beast defense. They had a little bit of issues last year against the run, but nothing substantial that I need to have Chubby Hubbard in my player pool at 30% ownership. Let's see,
you are disrespecting my guy Chuba so bad, calling him chubby. Like I know it goes together, but you're making fun of his weight now too. Damn.
It's not that he's chubby or anything. It's just how I,
view him.
Yeah, no, not really. It's just how I like remember players. Like JJ. JJ's my dude. Like that's how I remember him by. I don't remember by Justin Jefferson. I'm like JJ. It's
True.
like that. And Tyreek, I'm like, Reek or something like that. The Freak. I don't really remember him as Tyreek.
Okay. As a Panthers fan, I just had to say something. I just couldn't let it go by without making a comment.
I have a thing real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I need to know what it's worth to y'all for me to fade Mixon, because I always get him wrong. So if I play him today, y'all are.
Please play him.
What's it worth to you for me to take him out?
I'll be opposite from Burns. Like, I want you to play him. I think Burns doesn't want you to play him. I just have questions about because this is the guy that we talked about on the show last year that was just dust, right? Like he has an average over 4.1 yards per carry since 2018. Like I just looked at it right now. I just don't know that he's just suddenly going to be this revitalized running back. I have some in just because I have so much exposure to Houston wide receivers. So I do need to. I'm playing him just in case it's a Mixon falls into the end zone 3 times game. But I just don't know. Last year he had one game over 87 yards rushing or something. I'm just not sold on him just suddenly being revitalized.
Yeah, I have around 13%, and so I'm going to be double the field. Not because I feel like he's going to be revitalized, but it's just that offense is going to be so explosive. They have so many weapons they can utilize. It should make Joe Mixon's role and job significantly easier. And they are going to use him in the pass too, and so we'll have a lot of wide open space. It shouldn't be too hard for him to score here, but we'll see. The running back position for me on this slate is tough. I don't have anyone I really want to fade. I like a lot of the chalky guys. I like the Zamir Whites. I like even having a little bit of exposure to Devin Singletary. Let's see, anyone else? James Cook is a guy that I think you should have exposure to on this slate. There's quite a few, and B-Dub's talking about Javonte. I think I mentioned him on the Tactics show too, or maybe Bobby Wow did. I don't remember. But Javonte Williams is also in a good spot going up against the Seahawks. The problem with Williams is we don't really know what that split is going to look like, but he's due. That's what Bobby said. He's due. And so I don't hate that play either. Xavier said, thoughts on Coleman or Shakir? For me personally, I have a lot more Shakir. But Tattoo, what's your thought process here for the Bills wideouts? Do you have a preference here?
I actually love Coleman. I'm all about it.
What about you, Burns? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't cut you off.
No, I'm good.
What else? Why do you love Coleman so much, Tattoo? Go ahead and tell me. Why do you love him?
He's just great. He's a national treasure. If you watch him, just everything. Every time he opens his mouth, I fall in love with him a little bit more. And I think he's going to be heavily involved.
Okay. So. Tattoo, Raz, you have thoughts here?
You go ahead, Burns.
With Buffalo, I'm really just going to be targeting probably the tight end position here with Dalton Kincaid. And then if I do get Shakir in there, or if I get Coleman, I'm not really going on my way to target Coleman. I think he's going to be there in the end. But this week is kind of I'm kind of in that I want to see how they're going to scheme for him type mode right now. And Shakir has been in this offense for a bit, so I tend to like on rookie receivers a little bit of wait and see, and with tight ends as well. But I can see it as a viable play though.
Yeah, Raz, do you have a lean?
Yeah, my lean is playing him. I think Shakir's just safer, smarter. I think Keon Coleman is going to be a version of Gabe Davis. this year. I think he's a more explosive version. He's also a really dumb version. He's not a very smart human being. But I mean, maybe we don't need that as our outside wide receiver. But I get, at least early on in the season, as he more rapport and gets better, I just think he's going to be Gabe Davis-like. And Gabe Davis is somebody that we forced in a number of times last year because, we love that upside for big touchdowns. But there's just so much volatility with a rookie wide receiver on top of that.
Yeah, we were never going to get it, but there goes that FanDuel sponsorship from earlier. There goes that Bills sponsorship. Now we're calling their players. Yeah, we lost it all. Thoughts on Deshaun Watson? What was that, Russ?
I'm the only person that saw all the videos of him in the offseason of just how smart he is.
Great he is. Amazing.
Wonderful human being. I'm not playing Watson, are y'all?
No, I am not.
Anybody? Yeah. No, I just didn't get there, man. I don't love that matchup. I think there will be some Deshaun plays coming up in the coming weeks, but not today. On Fan Awful, if you are maxing to 150 maxes, would you make 300 lineups or use the same 150 for both? Raz, I know you do this on FanDuel. What's your strategy here?
So I'm using unique lineups across the board. Because it allows me to go, say you have 10 quarterbacks in that. Mm-hmm. Now it allows you to just do 30 builds for each quarterback rather than 15. It gives you more chances at the combinations you're looking for the stacks with that quarterback, etc.
Yep. And then on DK Cash, for my last spot on Flex, I have 6,200 left. Who is the best play? We can look at that together. 6,200 Tattoo, I'll go to you here. Do you have a favorite 6,200 or below flex play, or do you want me to go to Burns for it?
Burns,
what's your thought process here?
Damn, it's too bad you can't get that $100 salary to get to Waddle, but 6,200. I see a lot of DK Metcalf getting pushed into lineups. Be careful here. It is a very, very difficult matchup for him. He is going up against Patrick Surtain, who is shut down shadow corner, and he will shut down and he will shadow DK. He's done it in the past. So be careful with when you see DK getting into your lineups a lot. He's projected well in the domination station, but I don't know if I would go that route with DK as your last spot. I mean, from here, I don't know. I kind of like some other guys. Drake London is in the same boat for me as DK is. He's going up against Joey Porter. Very difficult matchup there. I don't, you can leave $300 on the table and just go down to Malik Neighbors and be fine. Or you can go to a running back in that spot. And, if you don't already have Kenneth Walker in your lineup, there you go. There's a $6,100 running back in your lineup.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Mr. Five said, Burns, I know I talked to you briefly playing Minshew in the Millie. Do you think he's a better pair with Devontae Adams, Zamir White, or Adams and Mayer? What's your thought process?
How about
here?
Adams and Myers? Nobody's talking about Jacoby Myers. So, and Michael Mayer, he was just a dude last year at the tight end position as a rook. I mean, now they got Brock Bowers coming in, and he's going to spell Mayer really quickly. It may not happen this game, but it's going to happen soon. Brock Bowers was a beast for Georgia. So, to be honest with you, if you could you really want to get silly for the Millie, Minshew, Adams, and Jacoby Myers.
How about Adams and Trey Tucker?
There you go, too.
Yeah, that's good, too.
And that's Trey Tucker. What's his salary? Real low, right?
Yeah,
min.
It's got to be super close to min.
I don't know. And
3,500.
Oh, that's not bad. 3,500. Okay, I'm still not doing that stack, y'all. I'll do a lot of crazy stuff, but I can't do Minshew today. Who would be a better stack, Pickens or Warranty with Fields? Do y'all have a strong lean here?
I mean, Pickens, right? Like, I don't really want anybody else. I mean, I'm almost tempted to just go Fields naked. maybe Fields and Freiermuth, but I don't really, just because Fields, like, playing off of what Geek said, Fields is used to relying on Cole Kmet last year. So, does he come in and rely on Freiermuth? I'm not sure, but I don't know. It's also a game that for all the talk about Fields and even Drake London on the other side, like, I just don't know if we see enough possessions in that game to get huge. Atlanta does like to run the ball quite a bit too. So I don't know. That's the game I wish I could get off of completely.
Yeah. Davis said Tank Dell's too much value to ignore. I do feel like Tank Dell is literally, just in the football sense, a dart throw. I do think he's going to be that deep slot receiver. You can use him in a lot of different ways. And so I just there's so many options for this offense. Tank Dell does feel like a bit of a dart throw for me. I think people feel like he's a little bit safer than he is. But Burns, what are your thoughts on Tank?
Actually, I kind of like him a little bit today. I think he's just really low owned. And everybody's kind of thinking that, Nico Collins and Diggs are going to be the guys. But if you look at it, last year, Tank Dell was the dude for quite a bit of weeks last year. Him and Nico had a really good pairing with Stroud. I'm not playing Stroud today. I just don't really like paying up $7,500 for him and seeing how it trickles down to the rest of the positions within the lineup. I actually, if I was to play Stroud, I probably would be playing him with Tank Dell today, simply because you get that $1,500 to $1,300 salary relief. But I just like Tank naked without Stroud, and I like potentially pairing him with a naked Richardson. So
yeah, if you use the DS and if you force Stroud in, almost all of your lineups will be Stroud and Tank Dell. So take that for what you will. Personally, I adjusted that and made sure I got a little bit more Nico Collins and a little bit more of the diva drama queen, Stephon Diggs, but teach their own. Raz, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm using Tank Dell a decent bit. I'm using all three of those guys, to be honest. We obviously mentioned last year with Nico Collins doing it, but they also had a third wide receiver that had explosive games, and that was Noah Brown. So like that showed us last year that they can handle three different wide receivers being able to go off. So I have no problem getting one of each of those three guys in most of my lineups today.
Agreed. Good little rotation. And then Tattoo, I know you like Tank a little bit, don't you?
Yeah. I have 35% Tank Dell.
There you go. Go
I'm
ahead.
I'm just going all in as a good $5,000 wide receiver.
Yeah, I'll go right back to you. Tattoo, do you like Ertz today, or what are your thoughts on him?
Well, I hate him as a human being, but I don't know. I think he's washed. I'm not playing him.
Yeah, I didn't get there. Burns, Raz, did y'all?
No.
I'll have a little bit, but mostly it's just an afternoon only play for me. I did the afternoon notes, or the tight end position on that slate is kind of a dumpster fire. I do think as the season goes on, we see less Ertz and more of Ben Sanat out of Kansas State. But
yeah, I do understand the argument, though. Rookie quarterback, pair for tight end. I don't hate it. It just isn't happening for me so far in my lines. And I'm not going to go out of my way to change that. Diego, what's up, man? You love Connor, James Conner, I'm assuming, at low ownership. I don't hate it just because the Bills, their front seven has gotten worse. And so I do think there's some unrealized potential upside here, but it's still James Conner, and he's 6,200, and so I don't love that price tag. If he was a little bit cheaper, I'll be more excited about it. I like guys like Zamir White a little bit more, and so that's why it's hard for me to look at James Conner, and K9 and White are right around him, but I don't hate it. Or did any of y'all get to James Conner today? I didn't.
I got 10%.
Yeah, I think I'm at 7%. But
7.
I mean, I think Connor's just a better FanDuel type play. Like his touchdown equity in
that.
that lineup or on that team is pretty strong.
Yep.
So I don't know. I like to have him just because he's another one of those just random 3 touchdown guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like his price, but it seemed like last year every time you looked, he had 15, 20 points. I mean,
yeah. Blake said Kenneth Walker or Zamir White. Burns, what are your thoughts here?
Kenneth Walker, because he's a really good running back. I like Zamir White. Don't get me wrong. This is like pulling hairs here. Zamir White's going to be a really good running back in the NFL for the Raiders. But if I had to choose between the two, it'd probably be Kenneth Walker, but you're also getting the ownership with him. Whereas Zamir White, you're not getting as much ownership with him. So if you need the salary relief to jump up to another player that you like better at another position, by all means, go Zamir White.
That to me is the answer. Depends on the contest, depends on what the rest of your lineup looks like. If you've already been pretty chalky, I think it makes total sense to have Zamir White as one of your slightly lower owned plays there. You usually only need 1 to 2, sometimes 3. But if you're playing, something more cashy, go with Kenneth Walker. I think he's the better play in general, but just depends on the rest of your lineup there. Chris said favorite wideout under 5K on DraftKings. Raz, Tattoo, whoever finds one first. Who do y'all like? I know we already talked about one.
I mean, Keon Coleman's 5,000.
Yeah.
Under 5,000.
I mean, it's Rashid Shaheed, right?
There we go.
What about JSN 49?
JSN's a great one too. I think that spread offense for the Seahawks is going to do wonders for all of the wideouts there, but Burns already touched on the tough matchup for DK. JSN, Lockett definitely in play. But let's talk about Rashid Shaheed. Why do you like him, Raz?
Oh, I mean, just the explosiveness. Like, that's the main thing, right? And some of the, the formations that the Saints kind of run, because they do focus a lot on more trick style, because Taysom Hill's involved. Like, so they have all these weird things that put pressure on the defenses. And if you get Shaheed on the outside against something that catches the defensive backs off guard, like, Shaheed's just super explosive. I read some stuff on Carolina, I guess, main defenses at cover 3, and Shaheed and the Saints just destroy cover 3 defense. But Shaheed is a big part of that. Yeah. And I guess I didn't look into Shaheed's career against Carolina directly. I just know against that style defense, he's gotten it done. He's more expensive this year, but it's still only $4,400.
Carolina's defense is pretty different than last year, at least when it comes to their depth and DBs. So for me, Horn should lock down Olave. That's the matchup you're looking to avoid. Shaheed is playing random cornerbacks who probably wouldn't be playable for most teams. So I love that matchup, and I think there's a lot of upside there. So really big call that I'm a fan of. Appreciate you, Dixon. Don't forget to smash the like button here, y'all. I appreciate it. Waylon said, I have Minshew, Jacoby in the $27 single entry. All right. You saw some of that Raiders passion coming on. Ash, I see you, man. I see you. Dixon said, guys, please tell me this is a safe space. Please tell me that we will no longer suffer from blowouts like in the NBA and MLB. I cannot promise that to you, my friend. But hopefully we get some good games today. Mr. Torrens said, hey, guys, sorry, I just came in. Fields, thoughts, or go up to Sam Darnold since I'm playing Justin Jefferson? Raz, I'll start with you. Do you have a preference here?
So adding in that you're playing Justin Jefferson, I think I'm probably going to Darnold. If they were naked quarterbacks, I'm probably playing Fields, even though I don't really love it. We just know the rushing upside for him helped tremendously. And I'm still not convinced that Darnold's going to be able to do a ton for the Vikings other than relying on Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. Tattoo, what are your thoughts?
Same, with him playing JJ, I would probably just go Darnold. But I mean,
Same. But Burns, I know you haven't been the biggest fan of Sam Darnold. What are your thoughts here?
JJ can get it done with any quarterback, and I don't really need Darnold to be paired with him for him to explode in a lineup. So I could do Fields naked with the JJ or Fields with Freiermuth with JJ and be completely okay with.
Yeah. I don't have a strong preference. I have both. So, but gun to head, I would go Sam Darnold just because he's lower owned. And I'm a GPP guy, so that's the way I think. Mr. Five said, what's the lowest/highest running back that is in play for the Millie? I'm assuming he means price. I'm not really sure. But we've talked about running backs a good bit at this point. But let's just say, who's your guy? And we'll go around the table. Like, who's your favorite running back? Tattoo, let's start with you.
Probably Rashid White would be my favorite. Like I said, I do like a nice cheap Jerome Ford. I like Walker a lot, but yeah, my favorite,
Yeah, who I have the most of. Same. I'm right there with you. Raz, what about you?
I mean, two players. It's Kenneth Walker is going to be my favorite running back, just without thinking anything. And then my favorite pay up for GPPs is going to be Jonathan Taylor. AR ownership so high. I like Jonathan Taylor right now. I see him at 9.5% on DK. I'm going to 2.5 times the field and just kind of hope that it turns into his touchdown game.
Okay. Burns, your guy?
Kind of have a couple. I mean, I do like that Mixon is under 10% projected ownership right now. So I'm going to try to leverage the field by doubling, if not tripling that. So what I'm trying to do in the Millie Maker is leverage the field percentage wise. I love Kenneth Walker today as well. Rashad White, I like him a good bit. But I'm really just taking out any running backs that are like above 7,000, like 7K and above out of my lineups completely. In the Millie Maker, you need that difference maker in 5 and 6K salary range at the running back position is where you're going to make all your money, because it allows you to get up to guys like Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, who I'm absolutely in love with this week. I think he's just freaking incredible matchup for him. But I love that game in general, similar to Where's Bob's Onesie?
That's right.
So, there are guys that this week that are going to go way under owned, that shouldn't be way under owned, and that are on normal slate basis, like Mixon's one of them. And I eat the chalk too with Rashad, I mean, he's a guy that you can eat that chalk with. He's pretty good. So.
Yeah, cool. And like I said, I'll address the elephant in the room. If I lose a bet, if I lose a head-to-head, I will put on a onesie, but I'm not going to do it for fun and games. Like, I'm not just going to wear a onesie. I'm not a weirdo. I'm not a creep. But if I lose a bet or I do a head-to-head, I'm in. That's all I'm going to say. If you want to take the challenge, I'm down. But outside of that, no, that's not me. That's not me.
I'll always take challenges.
Okay. Well, let's just keep it top of mind. Anthony said 1 p.m. quarterback. Should I go Tua or Burrow? Tattoo, I'll start with you. Preference, Tua or Burrow?
Burrow.
Burns?
Tua or Burrow? Oh, man. This one's tough because I wrote them both up. I go Tua. The game environment is really good. It's a 49-point total, -3 spread or -3.5 spread. I just really like it. I really like how Jacksonville got rid of Calvin Ridley, or he walked, and they're less like, yeah, awesome. We're back to our 2022 season circa, So I really like Captain Kirk and Ingram having good years this year with Lawrence. And, I can see that game being a shootout game. But I like Tua. He's the only 7K guy and above that I'm going to have significant ownership to.
Sweet. And then as a reminder, at the end of the show, in 8 minutes, we'll have our special GPP favorite low-owned play. So think about that guy for you. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and do some fast, quick answers here. Raz, I'll ask you thoughts on Luke McCaffrey, if you've thought about him yet.
I mean, I've thought about him. The only way I'm using him is the afternoon only slate. I just don't think we have to be that wide on a main slate right now. He's a number 3 wide receiver in an offense with a rookie quarterback who also does like to run a little bit. So I'm just not going to get there.
Yeah. Burns, did you consider him at all?
Who's that?
Luke McCaffrey.
No.
Yeah, I didn't get there.
I'm playing 20 maxes. I can't play everybody. It's just so hard. Like I'm playing 20 max. I'm in the domination station for the Millie Maker, and I have 10 hand builds. So I have 30 lineups in the Millie Maker. I can't get everybody. It's impossible.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of where I landed too. I don't hate him. There's nothing wrong with him. I just didn't get there. Thoughts on Pitts? Kyle Pitts. Did you look at him at all, Tattoo?
Yeah, I have. He's in my small list of tight ends. I still, I haven't seen it yet from him, so it's hard to trust him. But I mean, we know he's got the talent and he's, elite. But I definitely, I'm over the field for sure. I mean,
yeah, I have a crap ton. Drake London, you're a fan, right, Burns?
No.
Oh no, you're not. You don't like the matchup, so not as high on
like
Drake
it at all.
Yeah, I'm around field weight exposure on Drake. I don't hate him. For me, Dak is a hard pass going up against this great Browns defense at home. Raz, did you consider him at all?
No, and I actually almost removed him from the afternoon only notes because I don't know that he can get it done on the road, especially in Cleveland. That's really what it comes down to.
And then I forgot, is anyone stacking Chase with Burrow today? I'm double checking now. I think I am.
I mean, I'm not using Burrow, so but I'm also very limited on Chase just because even if he does play a full complement of snaps, like who else is the defense going to key in on that offense right now? To be in the season without Higgins.
Did you do it at all, Burns?
With Chase?
Uh-huh.
To be honest with you, I think with the situation going on right now with him, I really only have limited myself to one lineup with Burrow, and what I'm doing with that lineup is I'm targeting Mike Gesicki. I'm not even looking at Yoshi, and what I'm doing is Burrow to Gesicki for a 6.5 or 9.5K combo, and then I'm loading up with wide receivers on the throughout that lineup. Like I'm getting Justin Jefferson in there. I'm trying to get Evans in there. I'm trying to do everything in there with that lineup. So, that's kind of how I'm rolling it.
Nice. Okay. And then thoughts on Giants defense. I'll go right to you here as the defense guy, Burns. You on them at all?
If they flow into my lineups organically, yes. Otherwise, no, I'm not really going out of my way to target them. I just think that there's a lot of great defenses around them. Seattle has a good matchup on paper for defense. Chicago's a good on paper matchup defense, but my favorite defense around them is probably the Browns. I really like the Browns today. I don't care that Dak just got a huge contract. I have absolutely no desire to love that whatsoever. He hasn't earned it in the NFL. But what I will say is that when you go into the Browns stadium, you better be ready to play football. And Dallas has not been good on the road.
Yeah.
So
I can't disagree with any of that. Nobody's talking about Devontae Adams. Why not?
I love him.
You're not wrong.
He's awesome. He's going to be great today.
Yeah. For me, I think the name of the game is pay up at wide receiver at that position today besides CeeDee Lamb. I like that entire group. We like the mid-range a lot. We like a lot of the wide receivers on this slate. So yeah, we didn't like highlight them yet on this show, but we have on other shows this week. So I think we're good to go there. Nice, Ash. I see you, man. Let's go ahead and talk about anytime touchdown props. Tattoo, I'll let you lead this one. Go ahead and talk to the people about what we do here.
Well, last year, maybe 2 years ago, we just, at the end of the show, everybody would give a favorite guy to score a touchdown, and we throw a parlay together. By the time you throw 3 or 4 guys in there, it don't take $5 to really make a nice chunk of change. So I really want to go with Jerome Ford for my touchdown. Dallas just got murdered by running backs last year. I watched it every week. Jerome Ford, I'm just going to go with Jerome Ford, but Kenneth Walker would be right there too, if you want to go with somebody safer.
Yeah, Burns, who's yours?
Touchdown equity guy. I think a guy that could actually get into the end zone today that not a lot of people are talking about is Aaron Jones. He can do it through the air. He can do it on the ground. And you're getting him healthy right now. Aaron Jones has been a guy that's typically not very healthy over the course of the season. So getting him later in the season, he's got a lot of tread on his tires. So him, and I would say Bijan Robinson is my number 2 guy to get into the end zone. I just don't know if he pays off his salary. That's why I'm not going to have a lot of them today. I'm going to have him more in like single entry type contests or low number entrance contests versus the Millie Maker, because it's really difficult to meet that 7.7K salary. So he basically has to get about 35.5 to 40 points to pay off that salary. So
yeah. Hill is playing, Carl. Raz, who's your guy?
It's going to be 1 or 2 guys on Tampa Bay. Rashad White's probably the smart play. I think Mike Evans finds the end zone as well.
I agree with both of those. But yeah, I'll say Kenneth Walker if no one else has so far. And then favorite, last thing we're going to do here, appreciate all of y'all's support and sticking it out with us. We like Yoshi. He's a very viable play. Gesicki was someone that Burns liked. Bobby Wow liked Komet on the Tactics show earlier this week. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything else. Crashing is definitely going to happen, Mega Royal. And agreed. Someone in the chat is going to win the Millie today. Let's make that happen. But hey, favorite GPP plays on the slate. Let's just say them quick and fast in a hurry. Raz, who's your guys or guy?
Shaheed, obviously. JSN, those 2 guys.
Yep.
And then Jonathan Taylor, really.
Yep. Burns, what about you?
I don't know if it's going to happen, if he's going to help you win a Millie Maker today or not. But Hunter Henry he could actually have a fabulous day today against Cincinnati. So I don't know. That's a nice little pairing when you pair him with Ramondre Stevenson, and you might have about a total of 7% ownership between those 2 guys. So,
yeah, not crazy. And then I'll go ahead and toss mine in there. It's the one and only Panther that I'm trying to get exposure to. Jatavian Sanders, 2,500, stupid cheap, and starting because all their other tight ends are out. Jordan Matthews is playing, but I'm not really overly concerned about him. I expect Sanders to at least reach value, if not dramatically exceed it. Tattoo, who's your guy?
Well, since you just stole my guy.
Well, Shaheed was mine, so Raz stole mine. That's okay.
So now I have to rethink here.
We can both have Sanders or somebody else.
Okay, but maybe I'll Trenton Irwin, since everybody wants Yoshi.
Yeah, that's a good call. Good. Hey, well, y'all, this was just the first week of mini. This team's going to be together for the next few weeks, but we'll have some other people jump in every now and again too. But appreciate the support. Let's have a good week 1. It's going to be crazy. Expect that. But good luck, everyone. Peace out. Bye.